Good evening and welcome to another Wednesday edition of Sports Weekly, driven by Terry Hendricks Ford and live here at JJ Winn's in Holiday City. Of course, brought to you each and every Wednesday, fall, winter, and spring by those two fine businesses, Terry Hendricks Ford and JJ Winn's, as well as Main Stops of Northwest Ohio, the Bryan Parks and Recreation Department, and Amerimaid Realty. It's an Edgerton-centric show tonight as we talk softball and baseball this evening over in Edgerton. Hard to believe we're turned the page. We had our first spring guest last week, and games will start a couple of weeks from now or so. Marchetta Carrier with us, head softball coach for Edgerton. Hi, how are you?
Good, how about you?
What season is this for you at Edgerton?
This 16.
16 years the varsity softball coach. When you got to Edgerton, could you foresee yourself 16 years in?
No.
No?
To be honest, no.
Yeah.
But here I am.
So what's kept you at Edgerton for 16 years?
The
program going.
Yeah, we got a good program, and then the kids, they make you want to come back every year, and I think it just lies with them as I've had great kids throughout my years.
So you've done this before in terms of going back-to-back with winter to spring, but first time going back-to-back as a varsity head coach.
Yes, first time doing that.
So how's that trend? There was very little downtime for you.
Yeah, no downtime. We got down tournaments on Monday, and then I turned around and went to softball practice on Tuesday. So it's not been bad. It's been pretty smooth. So
what was the for those that don't know, spring sports start while winter sports are still going on. So you had to kind of maybe delegate a little authority to run the show for at least a few days, right?
No, we actually
Or did you wait?
We waited. Our game got pushed back to Monday. We were supposed to start Monday, so I just canceled softball Monday, and then we started Tuesday. So.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Edgerton softball and where you're at as the season begins.
The kids have been working really hard. We're boost the program up, and the program's it's been fun watching them, just the intensity, the competitiveness with each other, and the encouragement that you see in the gym, and sometimes outside. We got to go outside today. Just the chemistry between all the kids this year has been great to watch so far as the start.
As you look at Edgerton softball and you kind of begin a season, on paper, and I get that, things can change and you're going to improve. What are your strengths right now as you start this season?
Obviously we're bringing back my pitcher that's thrown 3 years for us. She would be a 4-year starter, but obviously a year got taken away from us. So she's our horse on the mound, and that solves a lot of problems if you've got a good pitcher on the mound. She's confident. She's a competitor. We're going to put a great defense behind her. So I think with just having that in place makes things pretty smooth to start.
And that's something I was talking last week about the difference between softball and baseball, whereas Mike has to deal with an innings or a pitch count, not innings. It used to be innings, but a pitch count. That doesn't exist in softball. I mean, you're not going to do this, but you could throw one girl all 25 games that you play this year in every inning if you so choose. But a luxury to have, both this year and beyond, is pitching depth in softball and building.
Right. This year we've got a couple of freshmen coming in that will help relieve a little bit of Ash's time on the mound. In the past, to be honest with you, she's probably throwing 98% of our games and has never complained about it, is always ready to go. But this year we've got a couple coming in that I think is going to take a little bit of lift off of her shoulders some games, and I think that's going to help her a lot and just saving her arms for the games that she's really needed.
So I asked strengths. What are weaknesses right now, or things that you need to improve on?
We're going to be weak in some key positions. We've got some young kids coming in that don't have experience, but they're learning every day in practice, and we're just trying to fill those roles of some kids that we lost last year, but they've stepped up to the challenge, and they're working and they're learning and they're willing to fill those roles.
The youth that you have may not be experienced, but there's talent there, I presume.
Yes, we have a ton of talent, so that's, as a coach, always exciting to have coming in, so especially with the freshman class.
How about your numbers?
We have 14 out, so not a lot, but we're all right. We're right in the middle.
Yeah, how do you make that work with softball, whether it be practice or, you can't really do much inter-squad scrimmaging, obviously, maybe with those numbers. You can get creative, I guess, but how do you make that work and kind of still keep an edge in practice as you prepare for a season?
We just shuffle things around. We do different drills. We do different situations. Like, we try to make it as game-like as much as we can. But like you said, we become creative a lot of times, and it's, just one of those things over the years. We've never had a ton of kids, so you've learned over the years that what works, what doesn't work, and, you learn different things every year, and you learn to be creative.
Marchetta, what's the GMC look like this year? I mean, it's been a very competitive race the last several years. More of the same this year? And if so, who would you, I guess, put the tag on as favorite?
Well, I'm not putting the tag on anybody, but GMC's tough, and it's always tough. And any given night, anybody in GMC can be beaten. And that's the great thing about being in the GMC is, like, you never know night to night, but it's tough. There's some really good teams, and we just hope that we're up at the top. So, it's tough, but I'm not putting a tag on anybody.
I'd have to say it's Fairview, probably, at least on paper, coming in.
Well, they have
defending state champs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take that from them. You never overlook them.
Do you feel? I mean, you've had runs. Mm-hmm. You've been to the regionals. Do you feel like that conference schedule prepares you for once you get to tournament time in May?
Oh, absolutely. And if you look at our complete schedule, like, we've got a really tough schedule, and there's a reason we have a tough schedule. There's teams on there that some people are like, you're really playing them, but there's a reason we put them on our schedule, and that is to prepare us for the end of the season. And, I wouldn't have my schedule any other way.
Who are some of those teams? Archibald, I assume, as well?
Archibald. We got Liberty, Evergreen's on there.
Playing the NWAL alone right there.
We've got Bryan. I mean, so we've got a pretty beefed up schedule, but it's worked out for us in the past.
Personal question here. Not too well, it's kind of personal. So basketball, softball. What sport is more intense, Marchetta?
Basketball is. It's just a different intensity level. But softball's intense too. I mean, but it's just a different level of intensity. But I don't know if most people that know me, I'm an intense person. I'm competitive. So I can be pretty intense in both.
Whether you're a softball or a baseball coach, this is an easy one to ask, but I guess I want to get your thoughts on what you do, because it can be so frustrating to be a spring sports coach in Northwest Ohio, where tomorrow it's 62 and the next day there's 2 inches of snow on the ground and it's 29 degrees. So how do you might go 10 days, 12 days without playing a game. How do you deal with that potential frustration?
It is hard, but you try to keep the kids focused. You got to stay focused as a coach, and you just got to mix things up and do different things so the kids don't get bored. And like today we were outside. Who knows? Tomorrow we're probably going to be back in the gym. And then they said there's supposed to be snow coming Friday.
Couple of inches, yeah, possible. So as you look around, no districts haven't really been formally announced yet, right? So this district, though, traditionally is very tough.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about getting through this and what it's been like for you guys through the years, and I guess whether you're a D3 or a D4 or a D2, whatever it might be, it's always challenging to get through these levels and make it to the regionals. I mean, this district is competitive, especially at softball.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like I said, that's why you try to have a tough schedule that leads you up to that point. But like you said, you never know day to day. Like, especially going into tournaments, everybody's 0-0, and it's a new season, and it's tough. But you got to come in and play your best, and that's at the time when you hope you're playing your best ball.
How has the sport changed over the years? Not just you. Well, let's talk about you coaching, even from when you played to coaching, and all your years here at Edgerton. Where's it changed, do you think, for the better? And are there any areas that it's like, 10 years ago, this was better? Do you have anything like that?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I think the game stayed the same. I think you see a lot more slapping than what you did. Obviously when I first came in, I think that's probably, to me, the biggest change. But I think it's a fun game, and I don't know. I think it may be a little quicker than in the past. It's helped with the pitching moving back to 43. It's become more of a hitter's game instead of a pitcher's game. Because when it was at 40, at 3 feet is huge. But I think that moving that back has opened the game up for a lot of teams that it wouldn't have in the past.
Are you a good hitting team now, or do you feel like that's an area that you're, okay, we're all right now, but boy, the ceiling is pretty high for this group. Are you going to be a good hitting team? I guess, where do you stand there?
Yeah, right now we're pretty locked in. Actually, Coach Mike and I actually just talked about that today, how locked in our girls have been going through hitting stations in the cage. So I'm looking for big things and hoping for big things. And, again, you just have to keep their focus. You have to keep their confidence. And, and we should be pretty decent.
Any rules changes? Anything, point of emphasis, anything like that?
Not really.
This year?
Nothing
Which,
overly
by the way,
exciting.
I can ask Mike about that, and he'll give me an answer, and then my answer back is 2 weeks into the season, if that, the point of emphasis are out the window.
Yeah, true.
They're gone.
Yeah,
that's true. It really is. Well, I don't know why we even have these points of emphasis. Yeah. Scrimmages, do you have any lined up, and if so, who?
Yeah, we do. We go to Defiance on Tuesday. We travel to Miller City Thursday, and then Saturday we go to Napoleon to go against Napoleon in North Baltimore. So we've got some good scrimmages set up for ourselves. So
sounds excellent. Hey, we wish you the best of luck this spring. Thanks for being with us tonight, and good luck to Edgerton softball.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Marchetta Carey, your head softball coach for the Edgerton Lady Bulldogs, our first guest here tonight. We'll talk Edgerton baseball coming up next.
The Bryan Parks and Recreation Department would like to wish the Bryan Golden Bears good luck in tonight's game. The Bryan Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of classes for you during the entire year and an array of sporting events all year long. Check out what the Bryan Parks and Recreations Department has going on at bryanparksandrec.com or like them on Facebook. The Bryan Parks and Rec hopes to see you in one of the many parks that Bryan has to offer and enjoy the facilities. Questions about the classes or rental of one of their facilities, call 633-6030.
I want to talk to you for the next 30 seconds about the place to go for your next vehicle. Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald. Whether it's a new vehicle for purchase, a lease vehicle, or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle, Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald is the place to turn. They also have this fantastic service department as well. Service after the sale. Terry Hendricks Ford, serving all of your vehicle needs in Northwest Ohio. Go to terryhendricksford.com.
It's Thirsty Thursday at all the main stops in Northwest Ohio. What does that mean? It means that every Thursday, all day long, you will get any size fountain drink or any size coffee for only 79 cents. All day long, every Thursday, any size fountain drink, any size coffee or cappuccino. Stop in to your main stop and see everything they have to offer every day. Main Stops, always there when you need us.
When it comes to choosing a realtor to help you with your real estate needs, the only choice is the AmeriMade Realty Team. Serving 6 counties in Northwest Ohio, AmeriMade continues to be one of the top companies year after year. With our award-winning service, commitment to each and every client's best interest, comprehensive marketing plan, and dedication to the people and communities around us, the AmeriMade Realty Team is the go-to choice in Northwest Ohio. When it's time for you to make your next move, call AmeriMade Realty at 419-636-7653. That's 419-636-SOLD. Or go to AmeriMadeHomes.com.
Here's your updated B-Rock 100.9 forecast. Lows level off around 26 tonight under partly cloudy skies. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. High temperatures reach up to 41 tomorrow. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Chance for snow tomorrow night. Lows level off around 27. Cloudy skies expected. About an inch of snow tomorrow night through Friday night. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Tremblay. Currently, it's 44 degrees.
Welcome back to Sports Weekly, powered by Terry Hendricks Ford. By the way, we're running out of shows here. We're running out of Wednesdays for this year. We'll go into April. That second Wednesday of April will be our final show for this year. 2 weeks from tonight, it'll be an Eden flavor. Brian Moore and Paula Fry, baseball and softball coaches there, will be on the show. And Andy Singer from Fairview will be our guest that night as well, a third guest. Next week, Samantha Fowle, who is the head softball coach at Bryan, will be our guest, and we're going to still talk a little basketball. That's on the eve of the boys basketball state tournament next Wednesday night. Brayton Martin, who kind of has come up with his own RPI that's similar to being used in college basketball. Brayton is going to be on Why is he doing it? What got him involved in it? How does he do it? And all that coming up next Wednesday night as well. Glad, as we said, as we talk Edgerton sports, to be joined by head baseball coach Mike Gillen. Mike, first time we met in person.
Yeah.
Had you on last year as a kind of a remote guest.
Yeah, via phone call, yep.
Yeah,
Good to be
technically your third season, but the second season coaching.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we had spring canceled of 2020. So for those that don't know or didn't hear you on last year, Marchetta's been around the area 1,000 years, so they know her background a little bit. Mike, where are you from? And tell us your background and how you ended up in Edgerton.
Well, I graduated from Napoleon in about 2015, then went to Defiance College and played baseball there. Graduated from Defiance, and actually had Kevin Miller. Scoop Miller was one of my teachers and coach at Defiance College, and he kind of hooked me up and said that there was going to be a job opening, so I applied for it and ended up getting it, and that's how I ended up there.
First coaching job, first teaching job right now at Edgerton, right? Yeah, you're doing adulting very well, Mike.
I'm trying.
So, successful career at both playing career, Napoleon and Defiance. Did you know all along? I mean, baseball always been your first love?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's ever since I was little. My dad coached me growing up, and that's what we did in the summers. It was play baseball and go all over the place, and just what we did.
Were you I know for the Napoleon, a bigger school, obviously, so there's a little more specialization that goes on there. Were you a multi-sport kid?
Yeah, I played football and basketball as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get at Edgerton, and now you're in your third year, so you're kind of ensconced now a little bit and know the kids, know the community a little bit. Tell us a little bit about being at Edgerton and maybe your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more comfortable this year than I was the past 2 years. Just knowing most of the kids and having them in class and then getting to know their families. And it's a very passionate community, and they care about their kids and their sports, so it's great to be a part of it.
You always talk, or we do at least, media talks a little bit about, you'll hear an expression about the game slowing down for a player playing at the varsity level. Is that it's fair to say for a coach, and that it slows down a little bit from maybe year one to year two?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's probably true, especially practice-wise, practice planning, just being more deliberate and knowing exactly what we need to do. And I've been fortunate to have really good help there all 3 years, so to make the transition a little easier into a head coach.
How would you describe your coaching style?
Firm but fair.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That is very fair to say. You like to run? Are you a running coach? I mean, I know it all depends on personality. If perfect world, would you be a running coach?
Yeah.
Would you be,
Absolutely. I mean, I think that there's a beauty in playing baseball, kind of how it used to be played. We look in the MLB and it's all about hitting doubles and hitting home runs. That doesn't really happen in high school baseball. I mean, if you have that, that's great. So we work bunting, we work running, different ways that we can kind of steal runs and get guys on base. Batting average, I think, is kind of a overrated statistic. We look more at on-base percentage because you can't score if you're not on base.
Absolutely. So coming back from last year to this year, tell me about this team. What do you like about this group, at least on paper?
I think we're super athletic, and we return some decent experience, but we have a lot to replace. In the cages, up to this point, we've looked really, really solid, but again, you never really know until you see them in live games.
Yeah. Deficiencies right now. Where do you have to get better to be competitive?
We definitely need to get better on the mound. We returned 2 guys that threw a lot of innings, and then other than that, we don't return a lot of varsity experience, so we'll need guys to step up in that way. And then defensively, we definitely need to get better at making plays, and that'll come once we find guys in what spots they need to play and all that.
Is it trouble making like last year? Did you have trouble sometimes in games with like the routine plays? Is that something that just the little things to get better? Yeah,
and that's something we focused on a lot last year. We started out early on in the year, and that might have been after a year off too, but we struggled to make plays. And then we started to realize, hey, if we make plays, we can be pretty good and win games. So I think that kind of clicked, so we're hoping to get that to click a little quicker this year.
Are you the pitching coach as well?
Actually, my dad is.
Okay.
But I help him out.
Yeah. So you had two guys with experience. Are there other arms that here's the question. Because you know that if you get one of those weeks that we have good weather, one of those rarities that you're going to get 4, 5, 6 games in, you better have some depth. Do you have some guys that can eat some innings for you?
Yeah, and I say we have probably 2 guys that will be our 1 and 2 for sure, and then about from 3 to 8, we have all arms that are pretty similar. So we could throw anywhere from 8 to 10 guys that are going to be on our roster. We have a lot of pitchers, and it's just a matter of figuring out which ones are going to be in those important roles for us.
March 9th, it always feels like, especially in baseball, that hitting is always behind pitching and defense. Is that the case right now for you guys?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Until we can start to see some live pitching, you don't really know where hitting is.
GMC, is Antwerp the team to beat? They seem to be on paper with what they have in arms.
Honestly, I think the GMC is pretty loaded all across the board. I could go through every team probably and name one arm that's about 90 miles an hour, and that's something that it's tough to hit in the league. So I think anybody could take it. And then you throw Paulding in the mix this year too, and they're really talented as well.
How was the summer for you guys? I mean, that's an important part of the evolution for a spring sport. What did you guys do in the summer, and what kind of participation did you get from Edgerton baseball kids?
Yeah, and we had an awesome summer. We actually had every kid that, other than the incoming freshmen, every kid played summer ball. So we were able to kind of build a rapport there and start to see where guys will go. So we played a lot of Acme games and did a few practices here or there to see how we were rolling.
Can I just say, whether it's baseball or softball, that 10-day that contact rule is the stupidest rule.
Well, we didn't have it last year.
I know you didn't, and I'm mentioning it because it's coming back this year.
We don't bring that up.
Because you're turning your program over. I mean, you can be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're there, and are you making the line? You're making a lineup out. I mean, come on. I mean, why is it this sport, the spring sports, are the ones that you have to have other people coach your program?
I don't know.
I just don't get it. I know it's coming back. I know you didn't have it last year. Yeah. What's your schedule? That's a whole new setup. I'll get a roundtable discussion on that with some people in baseball and softball. What's your out-of-conference schedule look like this year in terms of some of the teams you're playing?
It looks pretty tough, I would say so. We open the season March 26th at North Baltimore with Miller City in North Baltimore. And Miller City's a really talented team, and it's historically pretty good. We play Evergreen in a doubleheader, East Side out of Indiana, which I think they made a pretty deep run in the tournament last year. We play Archibald. So we loaded up in order to get prepared.
Going down to Putnam County, whether it's Miller City, Kalida, whatever, traditionally they've been really good over the last several years.
For sure.
Edgerton's one of those towns where baseball is and always been pretty important. I mean, there have been good runs by teams through the years as well. Have you gotten a kind of finger on the pulse of, are there good numbers that are coming into and through the feeder systems, the youth programs up towards high school?
Yeah, I've actually been able, that's one big thing that I've been doing the past few years, is getting involved down at the lower levels, just to kind of get kids excited about playing baseball. And I know our 8th grade class right now will bring in quite a few kids if they continue to play, so that's exciting.
What are we watching for in baseball this year? What are we any big rules changes there? I haven't read up on that.
See, I listened to your interview with Tony last week. Tony actually I student taught for Tony when I was in college. Right? Yeah, so I listened to
Tony Gehrig is now a mentor.
He's a great mentor. You have to ask him. He called me Darren. It was a Seinfeld joke.
Yes.
I had never seen Seinfeld, so I had no idea what he was talking about.
Dude, I should ban you from this show right now for having said that you'd never seen Seinfeld. Darren the intern.
Yeah, that was
you were working for Kramerica Industries. All right.
Yeah, so I knew this question was coming, so I actually did have one for you. So
all right, I want a rules change.
If you're on the pitching mound, if you're pitching out of the windup, you can't have one foot in front of the other. They call it a hybrid method. So both feet have to be in line with the rubber. If the one foot, so if you stand up and your feet are kind of like that, it's an illegal pitch. It's a ball.
So is it a balk or is it a ball?
It's a ball.
It's a ball, but not a balk.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, it will be called on March 28th, but will it be called on May 12th?
We'll see.
That I don't know.
I'm going to be looking for it.
You're right. You're right about that. Tell me about playing ball, you as a player at the college level. Yeah. We have a lot of kids that are going, whether they're D1, 2, or 3. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've always told an athlete, first of all, be proud of that, because going to that next level is something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Did you look at it as when you went and played it, and I don't mean any disrespect when I say only Defiance College, but I mean that's what people think because that's the local college.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that even then that was a job? That you better love the sport and you better be married to this a little bit because you got to throw yourself into it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the only Defiance College, and that was kind of the reason I decided to go there is I wanted to be kind of a reason for that to change because it's a great school and Coach Woodley means a lot to me.
Great
but
dude.
It definitely was a full-time gig. Like you go to class and then you got practice from 4 to 7, and it's work. It's what it is. So if it's not for everybody.
And I'm not saying that as only Defiance College. You hear that in the community. That's
exactly.
Whether it's here or you're only going to Trine or whatever. But that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah,
and you're doing it for a lot of reasons for the love of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had that dream that I'm going to get drafted. I mean, you could have dreamed that.
That's what I tell the kids sometimes is I turned down the Rockies called. I turned them down because I wanted to come coach them. They never believe me, but that's what I tell them.
But Northwest Ohio has been a fertile ground.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
How many kids from just your alma mater are playing professionally right now?
I think of Art Warren right now, Zach Willman, who I would have played with.
Had Zach on earlier this winter. He's talking about.
A great friend of mine.
He was the player to be named later in the offseason going to the Royals.
It was always easy to play defense when he was pitching because he just struck out everybody. So
he was tough. So you said March 26th?
Yep.
Okay. Look forward to seeing you maybe a game or two this year.
Yep.
So appreciate you taking the time to come on and be with us here tonight.
Yep.
Best of luck this season at Edgerton. And way to be prepared. Darren the intern. I love that.
I was ready for it.
I love that.
Thanks.
And TG never told me that last week either. Thanks, Mike. Mike Gilland, our guest tonight, along with Marchetta Carrier. That's going to do it for Sports Weekly here on a Wednesday night, presented by Terry Hendricks Ford, JJ Wins, the main stops of Northwest Ohio, the Bryan Parks and Rec Department, and Amerimaid Realty. Again, next week, Brayton Martin and Samantha Fowle will join us next Wednesday night at 7 here from JJ Wins in Holiday City.